You're about to hear a story that will shake everything you believe about what's possible in this world. A 4-year-old boy stays underwater for 12 minutes. No breathing, no heartbeat. The most experienced doctors declare irreversible brain death. But then something happens that science still can't explain to this day. If you believe in miracles, hit that like button right now. If you don't believe, you might change your mind in the next few minutes. It was August 15th, the feast of the Assumption of Our Lady, a date the Johnson family would never forget. The Orlando heat was unbearable that summer, 108 degrees in the shade. The air conditioning was fighting a losing battle against Florida's relentless sun. Inside the house, David was finishing up a video conference in his office. Sweat dripped down his forehead, even with the AC cranked to maximum. In the kitchen, Sarah was cutting ice-cold watermelon for the kids' snack. The sweet smell of the fruit mixed with the scent of sunscreen Shed applied to the boys earlier, and in the backyard, little Ethan was playing alone, blonde hair tousled by the hot wind, blue eyes sparkling with that innocent curiosity only children have. He'd discovered a colorful pool float bobbing in the water, blue and yellow. To him, it was treasure waiting to be claimed. What nobody knew was that in the next 30 seconds, this family's life would be shattered and then rebuilt by a force that defies all human logic. Ethan stretched to reach the float. His bare little feet slipped on the wet deck around the pool. There was a quiet splash, almost inaudible, so silent that even the birds didn't stop singing. Inside the house, David was talking about financial reports. Sarah was organizing fruit in the refrigerator. Life continued normally, routinely, safely, but then came the silence. Every parent knows this silence. It's not the absence of sound, it's the presence of something terrible. David stopped talking mid-sentence. His heart raced for no apparent reason. A cold sensation crept up his spine. He stood up from his chair as if pushed by an invisible force. His footsteps echoed down the hallway. Each second felt like an eternity. He reached the backyard door and scanned the area with his eyes. The pool looked normal. Crystal clear blue water, the colorful float bobbing peacefully. But something was wrong. Very wrong. And then he saw it. A small shadow at the bottom of the pool. Motionless, perfectly still. The scream that came from David's throat wasn't human. It was a primitive sound of pure desperation. He dove in fully clothed. The water felt ice-cold compared to his adrenaline-charged body. He pulled Ethan out. The little body was heavy, too heavy. His skin, which minutes before had been pink and warm, was now bluish and cold. His lips purple. His eyes closed as if he were sleeping the deepest sleep of his life. David put his ear to his son's chest. Nothing. Absolute silence. Not even a whisper of a heartbeat. He started chest compressions. 1, 2, 3. Mouth to mouth. The taste of pool water mixed with the salt of his own tears. 4, 5, 6. More breathing. The small ribs giving way under the pressure of his desperate hands. Sarah heard her husband scream and ran to the backyard. When she saw the scene, the world stopped. Her son there, lifeless, while David fought to bring him back. The scream she let out was heard throughout the entire neighborhood. Neighbors opened windows. Dogs began to howl. But it was in this moment of total despair that something extraordinary happened. Caleb, the 14-year-old brother, came running home from school, his backpack still on his shoulders, his uniform sweaty from the heat. He saw his father performing CPR on his little brother. He saw his mother screaming into the phone with emergency services. He saw Ethan's blue and lifeless little body. Any teenager would have panicked, but Caleb did something that even he doesn't understand to this day. His knees hit the wet ground, as if an invisible force had pushed him down. His hands automatically went to his pocket, where he carried the rosary his Portuguese grandmother had given him, a dark wooden rosary worn by time and prayers. And then he began to pray, but it wasn't a memorized prayer. It was a cry from his soul, a plea that came from the deepest part of his being. Our Lady of Fatima, I know you can hear me. I know you're here. Please don't let my brother die. I promise anything. He'll go to Mass every day. He'll pray the rosary every day. Just don't let him die. Tears fell like rain on the hot ground. His words mixed with sobs. He clutched the rosary so tightly, his knuckles turned white. And it was at this moment that witnesses reported something inexplicable. A gentle breeze began to blow in the backyard. Impossible in that hellish heat. The air became fragrant with the scent of roses. There were no roses in the Johnson family garden. David continued the compressions. 5 minutes. 6 minutes. 7 minutes. Ethan wasn't responding. His skin was getting bluer and bluer, his lips almost black. The ambulance arrived with blaring sirens. Experienced paramedics took control. They worked for another 4 minutes. They administered adrenaline. They used the defibrillator. Nothing. The oldest paramedic, with 25 years of experience, looked at his stopwatch. 12 minutes and 30 seconds since David had pulled Ethan from the water. Guys, we're going to the hospital. Now. Helicopters. On its way. In the back of the ambulance, Caleb kept praying. The rosary in one hand, the other holding his brother's cold hand. He whispered non-stop, "Our Lady, you who appeared to the little shepherds in Fatima, you who promised never to abandon those who pray the rosary, please work a miracle, show your power, save my brother." The helicopter cut through Orlando's blue sky. Inside the aircraft, the doctors kept trying, but the machines showed the cruel reality. Flat line. No cardiac activity, no brain activity. At Orlando Children's Hospital, the most experienced medical team in the region was waiting. Dr. Martinez, renowned neurologist, with over 2,000 traumatic brain injury cases. Dr. Sarah Chen, pediatric, cardiologist trained at Harvard. Dr. Roberto Silva, intensive care specialist with 30 years of experience. They worked for another 20 minutes. They applied every protocol. They used every piece of equipment available. But the answer was always the same. Nothing. Dr. Martinez looked at the clock. 42 minutes since the accident. He'd seen many cases like this. He knew there was no hope left. He called the family into a private room. David was holding Sarah, who was shaking uncontrollably. Caleb followed behind, still with the rosary in his hand. Sorry, but I have to be honest with you. Ethan was without oxygen for too long. Even if we could revive him now, the brain damage would be devastating. He would be a vegetable for the rest of his life. And frankly, the chances of revival are non-existent. Sarah collapsed. Literally. Her legs gave out and she fell to the floor. David went into shock, staring into nothingness. But Caleb remained standing. "Doctor, just a little more time, please. 3 days. Give us 3 days, Dr. Martinez sighed. Son, I understand your pain, but prolonging this will only cause more suffering. There's no hope. None. 3 days, doctor. Just 3 days, Caleb insisted, with a firmness that surprised even himself. Against all protocols, Dr. Martinez agreed. 3 days. What happened in the following 3 days transformed Orlando Children's Hospital into something never seen before. News of the case spread through social media. People began arriving to pray. First it was some neighbors, then parish members, then people from all over the city. The hospital corridor became an improvised sanctuary. Children, young people, adults, elderly, all praying the rosary, all asking Our Lady of Fatima. Caleb organized a prayer vigil that ran 24 hours a day. He slept on the hospital floor, next to his brother's bed. Every 2 hours, he prayed the complete rosary, always asking Our Lady of Fatima. Carmen, a nurse for 35 years, had never seen anything like it. It seemed like the hospital had become Fatima, people from all over the world sending messages, prayer groups forming spontaneously. On the second day at 3 o'clock, exactly when Caleb prayed the rosary, something strange happened. The machines began to show small brain waves, very weak, almost imperceptible, but they were there. Dr. Martinez looked at the monitors, incredulous. This shouldn't be happening. Clinically, it's impossible. Let's repeat the tests. They repeated them. The result was the same. Minimal brain activity, but present. On the third day, at exactly 3 o'clock, the miracle happened. Caleb was praying the rosary beside the bed. Our Lady of Fatima, you who promised that the rosary is the most powerful weapon against evil, please show your power. Save my brother. Suddenly the machines went crazy. Alarms went off. Brain waves exploded into activity. Ethan's heart began to beat strong and steady, and then slowly his eyes opened. Dr. Martinez was checking on other patients when he heard the alarms. He ran to the room thinking it was an emergency. When he entered, he saw Ethan sitting up in bed looking around, confused. "Where's my mommy?" was the first thing he said. The nurse in the room fainted. Dr. Martinez froze. Caleb began to cry, still, holding the rosary. Sarah and David came running. When they saw Ethan awake, conscious, talking, they couldn't believe it. Sarah hugged her son so tightly she almost suffocated him. "Mommy, I saw a very beautiful lady. She had a white dress and a blue mantle. She said you were very sad, but that I was going to be okay. She said she brought me back because many people were praying to her. Ethan's description was exactly like the apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima. Every detail matched perfectly. The tests that followed left the medical team speechless. MRI, normal. CT scan, normal. Neurological tests, all normal. There was no sign of brain damage. None. Dr. Martinez assembled specialists from around the world, doctors from Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, Harvard Medical School. They all reached the same conclusion. Scientifically impossible. A child doesn't stay 12 minutes without oxygen and come out unharmed. It's against all laws of medicine. But Ethan was there, perfect, healthy, playing as if nothing had happened. 3 months later, Dr. Martinez published the case in the New England Journal of Medicine. The title, Complete Neurological Recovery After Prolonged Cardiorespiratory Arrest, a phenomenon inexplicable by current medicine. But for the Johnson family, the explanation was simple. Our Lady of Fatima had worked a miracle. Dr. Martinez, who was an atheist, converted to Catholicism. I always believed only in science, but what I witnessed has no scientific explanation. It was a miracle, literal. Today I pray the rosary every day. The story spread around the world. CNN, BBC, major networks. Everyone wanted to interview the family. But for them, the most important thing was the testimony. Caleb, now 17, became an evangelist. He tells the story in schools, universities, medical conferences, always carrying the same rosary he used that day. I can't explain what happened. I only know that Our Lady of Fatima heard my prayer. She saved my brother, and she can save anyone who asks with faith. Ethan, now 7 years old, remembers every detail. She was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. She told me that many people were praying to her to help me. She said the rosary is very powerful. If you've made it this far, it's because this story touched something inside you. Maybe you're going through an impossible situation. Maybe you've lost hope. Maybe you're doubting whether God still performs miracles. This story is for you. Our Lady of Fatima still intercedes for us. She still hears our prayers. She still works miracles. If this story impacted you, share this video right now. Someone on your contact list might need a miracle today. Leave your like if you believe in the power of prayer. Comment below. Have you ever witnessed a miracle in your life? And subscribe to the channel for more real testimonies of faith and miracles. Remember, faith can move mountains, and sometimes it can bring a child back from death. Our Lady of Fatima, pray for us, now and always.